Have you ever met someone who believed in you when no one else did? Someone whose words, actions, or even a simple glance changed the course of your life forever? Imagine a young student, struggling through every day, invisible in the eyes of teachers, classmates, and even family. This is the story of Alex, a teenager who thought he would never amount to anything, and the one teacher who refused to let him give up. Alex grew up in a world that often felt heavy, unfair, and unforgiving. School was a battlefield where grades, social pressures, and expectations weighed down his every move. He wasn't the smartest, the fastest, or the most confident. His hands shook when he tried to answer questions. His chest tightened when he walked into the classroom, and he convinced himself that failure was inevitable. Every mistake felt permanent, every glance of disapproval a confirmation of what he already believed, that he was invisible, that he would never be enough. Then came Mr. Harris, a teacher unlike any other, with kind eyes and a patience that seemed infinite. He noticed the quiet boy at the back of the classroom, the one who never raised his hand, who muttered answers so softly they could barely be heard. Most teachers had given up on Alex. Most teachers wrote him off as unmotivated or troubled. But Mr. Harris didn't. He saw potential where others saw failure. He saw curiosity behind the fear. He saw a spark that no grade, no test, no report card could extinguish. One day, after class, Mr. Harris approached Alex's desk. "I notice you've been struggling," he said gently. "I know it's hard, but I also know you can do this. Let me help." Alex looked up, surprised, unsure if he should believe the words or dismiss them as empty encouragement. Most adults had given up on him long ago. Most words had been hollow. But there was something different about Mr. Harris. Something steady, sincere, and unwavering. Over the next few weeks, Mr. Harris began to work with Alex after school, not just tutoring in subjects like math or science, but teaching him how to believe in himself, how to break down big problems into small steps, how to see mistakes not as failures but as lessons. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, Alex began to change. His shoulders straightened, his voice grew stronger. He started to raise his hand, to answer questions, to try again when he had previously given up. But the road was not easy. There were setbacks, tests that didn't go well, moments when old fears and doubts surged back with full force. Alex wanted to quit, to retreat into the safety of invisibility, to convince himself that he wasn't capable. And yet every time he faltered, Mr. Harris was there, patient, encouraging, unwavering. "Keep going," he would say. "I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself." One rainy afternoon, after a particularly difficult exam, Alex sat in the classroom staring at a paper filled with red marks. He felt hopeless, ready to give up entirely. Mr. Harris walked over, sat beside him, and handed him a simple notebook. He said, "Look at this." Inside were pages of Alex's previous work, the attempts, the mistakes, the little victories he had forgotten. He said, "See how far you come? This isn't about being perfect. It's about learning, growing, and refusing to quit. You're stronger than you think." Something shifted in Alex that day. He realized that success wasn't a single test score, a perfect assignment, or the approval of others. Success was perseverance. Success was showing up, trying, failing, and trying again. And most importantly, success was believing in the person staring back at him in the mirror. As the months passed, Alex's confidence continued to grow. He began to participate in class discussions, help peers who were struggling, and even take leadership roles in projects. His grades improved, yes, but more importantly, his sense of self-worth transformed. For the first time, Alex felt like he mattered. He felt like he belonged. He felt capable of shaping his own future. But the true turning point came during the school's annual science fair. Alex had spent weeks working on a challenging project, a complex experiment that pushed him beyond what he thought he could handle. On the day of the fair, he presented his work nervously, surrounded by students and teachers, feeling exposed and vulnerable. When he finished, the room was silent for a moment, and then erupted into applause. Mr. Harris was standing at the back, smiling proudly, eyes glistening, and in that moment, Alex realized something he had never fully understood before. Someone's belief in you can become the spark that ignites your own belief in yourself. Years later, Alex would look back on his teenage years and remember the quiet teacher who changed everything. Mr. Harris didn't just teach him algebra or physics. He taught him courage, resilience, and the power of faith in another human being. He taught him that sometimes all it takes is one person to see your potential, one person to refuse to give up on you, to transform your life forever. And the lesson is universal. Every one of us has the capacity to be a Mr. Harris in someone's life, or an Alex waiting for that spark of belief. We underestimate the impact of our words, our patience, and our attention. A simple gesture of encouragement, a moment of guidance, a belief that someone is capable can change the trajectory of a life in ways we may never fully comprehend. Ask yourself, who in your life could benefit from your belief? Who is waiting for someone to see their potential? And who knows, the smallest act of encouragement, the quietest gesture of support could ignite a flame that transforms everything. Alex's story is also a reminder to those of us who've been in his shoes. It's never too late to grow, to try again, to embrace our potential. Success is not about perfection or immediate recognition. It's about perseverance, courage, and the willingness to act even when the world doubts you. And often, the most meaningful transformations happen quietly, through patience, understanding, and simple acts of belief and support. Imagine the ripple effect. One teacher's belief transforms one student. That student grows up into an adult who then encourages others, mentors someone else, and continues the chain of positive influence. The impact multiplies far beyond what anyone can see, and it all starts with one person refusing to give up on another. So today, whether you are a student struggling to find your way, a mentor hoping to guide someone, or simply a person in a position to offer encouragement, remember this: your belief, your patience, and your willingness to see potential where others see failure can change a life forever. You may never know the full extent of the impact, but that doesn't make it any less powerful. Alex would later achieve things he never imagined possible, not because the path was easy, but because he learned to persevere. And at the heart of it all was a teacher who refused to let him settle for mediocrity, who believed in him when he couldn't believe in himself, and who showed him that courage and growth often come from the simplest but most profound sources: understanding, patience, and unwavering belief. This story is a reminder that teaching is not just about knowledge. It's about vision. It's about seeing beyond the surface and nurturing the hidden potential that lies within every person. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give someone is our time, our attention, and our belief in their ability to rise above circumstances. And for anyone listening, take this lesson into your own life. Be the person who encourages, the person who guides, the person who sees beyond immediate appearances and invests in someone else's potential. Your actions, though seeming small, can echo through a lifetime, shaping futures, changing trajectories, and creating legacies far greater than grades, awards, or titles could. Because, in the end, life is about the difference we make in others.
the hope we inspire, and the courage we ignite. Alex's life was transformed forever by one teacher who chose to believe. And perhaps somewhere in your life, you have the power to be that teacher, or to find that teacher who changes everything. So as you reflect on this story, remember the power of belief, patience, and encouragement. Whether you're a mentor, a friend, a parent, or a student yourself, the lesson is simple. Never underestimate the impact of your belief, your guidance, and your willingness to invest in someone else's growth. One person can change a life. One act of encouragement can ripple outward to create extraordinary transformation. And if this story has inspired you, if it has reminded you of the teachers who shaped your life, or the potential you have to shape someone else's, subscribe to Life Lessons Library. Join a community where stories of courage, perseverance, and inspiration live to remind us all that growth, transformation, and hope are always within reach. Because sometimes all it takes is one person, one act, one belief to change a life forever, and perhaps to change the world in ways we will never fully see.